I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is all the mods 10 to the sky. I tell you, nothing like taking a nice warm bath here over on the all the mods 10 to the sky world. And I tell you what, today I have a plan. See, over the last few days, we have heavily been working on bees, and this is going to expand as we continue playing. Everything is functioning. I even went ahead and updated the SFM code to make it look even nicer and clean some things up. There was a lot of redundancy that I ended up fixing, and it looks a whole lot nicer. By the way, also updated over on the Discord, so you can definitely find that listed over on the Discord, pinned in general channel. I get a lot of questions like, where do I find this stuff? It's literally pinned in general. You can find it there, but that's not what we're working on. I was looking inside of JEI and looking at the all the mods star and looking at kind of what we're going to need ultimately that are going to take a long time, in my opinion. And some of the things that I think are going to take a long time is going to be things like the logs, right? We're going to need a lot of logs, a lot of dirt. Those things, they come from mystical agriculture for the most part. And I was like, how could I make this faster? How could I make our current mystical agriculture farms even quicker without expanding and turning it into this massive like infrastructure, right? We don't really need a repeat of the same machines over and over again, because we actually have several other ways that we can grow these crops. And while I can use bees to technically make dirt and many other things, I was thinking I could try something else. And it involves the reason why we kind of upgraded all of our industrial foregoing machines. And that's because industrial foregoing, believe it or not, has the ability to farm mystical agriculture crops, right? I know, it's crazy, but how exactly? Well, these machines you see behind me can do that very thing. And that is the hydroponic bed. But hold up. You're like, I've seen the hydroponic bed. I know all about this machine, but do you know about the simulated hydroponic bed? Do you? See, at the moment with max upgrades and a little bit of ether gas and water, when we turn this on, this starts generating a ton of essence. For example, honey essence I can have running in this one. But you might notice something interesting. There is a hydroponic simulation processor down here. What is this little fancy thing? Well, it tells me how many executions have happened, how many times that this seed has actually done a cycle. And we can actually take this out of here once we get enough of them. And instead of running it on top here and having it actually grow in the world, we can kind of simulate it. Now, is this better than the way that we were doing it over here? I'm going to have to say, I don't really know. You can see that with these upgrades, this thing starts to ramp up. And it's producing pretty quick. You can see the actual simulations happening, and we're jumping. Like, we are jumping between, and I'm almost positive the higher you get this efficiency, the faster this machine is going to simulate these crops being generated. But how do we get the simulations up really quick? Because each time this processes, you can see the simulations going up. I honestly think the fastest way to get the simulations is going to be quite literally just having it run here. Like, this is going to be the way, I think, to get those simulations up. We can see that executions are going up and up and up. And then we hit that efficiency tier bonus, which brings it up by 0.1 every time it hits that goal. Now, I'm almost positive this is all exponential as well. So this, like, quite literally is like the definition of like one of those clicker games. If this had a prestige in it, it would definitely become like a clicker game thing. So now I know you're wondering, how do I get my hands on this fantastic machine? How do I make this thing? Well, first things first, you're going to need a cow. Yes, I'm not even joking, a cow. So I have a cow currently standing on top of this machine, a sewer. And yes, we are collecting cow droppings. And this is what you need. You basically send the cow sewage into a sewage composter, and that's going to grant you the fertilizer that's used to actually make these blocks. And outside of that, everything else is pretty straightforward. Now, since I'm working on making a pattern for this, so you guys suggested in the comments, I absolutely love all the suggestions, but this was fantastic. You guys suggested using an exporter, and in here, exporting patterns, crafting patterns into the assembly matrix. So if I have any pattern that can go in there, it will try to send it in here. Now, normal patterns will not try to go in, right? You can't just export anything. It only can be like patterns that we've already made. So if I throw that in, you notice it disappears and it ends up making its way in here. I think that is a fantastic suggestion. We can also throw in some speed upgrades to make sure it like happens instantly. I didn't know if I was going to need a fuzzy card, but this is fantastic. So if I look, let's see, hydroponic, we have the hydroponic bed, but I don't have some of the other patterns in here from Industrial Foregoing. So I can go ahead and craft like the simulator, right? This is the simulation. So we can throw this in here and I can just put it in here. And then it's going to get automatically added to the matrix. So I don't have to open this up and like hand place these in anymore. That was a fantastic tip and thanks. And also after showing that, I believe, yes, so we do need a fuzzy card specifically in here. Yes, pattern. Yes, fuzzy card is required. So now that we know how to get ourselves some hydroponic beds and also get the simulator, I think it's time. I think it's time that we start crafting a few different seeds that I know I'm going to need a ton of. So for example, starting out using honey seeds. This is going to be a great seed to have because we are going to need tons of upgrades for the bees in the future. So having as much of this as possible is going to be fantastic. So I need to devise a way to handle all of these items that are coming out of these blocks. Now, I think it's going to be a little bit easier once everything is set up in a simulator. And I think the simulator is going to be great. It's going to work just about as fast as this once we get the rating, the efficiency up to a certain point. Like if we can get this up to like 2 even, I think that's fantastic. Like when I put this in here, every cycle that this runs through, it literally generates like 10 or 15 or so of the essence per time it runs through the cycle, which is really, really fast, by the way. I think it's going to help with lag. If there is any lag to be generated from this setup, this is the solution to that. So now I've got most of these crafted and I decided to go ahead and go about it like this, placing out each hydroponic bed. And then I want to kind of work my way up. So we can have a pipe, for example, that runs up or maybe connects to all of these. And then we let this build up the simulation processor. After we get it to a comfortable amount, what we could do is just simply swap them out for all of the simulated hydroponic beds. Now, we still want to handle all of this. It's just at first, it's going to cost just a teensy little bit of ether gas. Everything else should be fine, however. Oh, and something else I'm actually noticing about this that I didn't realize, these apparently connect to one another. So this is carrying its fluids into this hydroponic bed. Oh, that's interesting. I totally forgot about this. I mean, it does exist in some of the other blocks from this mod, but I wasn't actually expecting this to work. I wonder if it kind of like extends all the way out through each other, but I mean, it's efficiency upgrade. There's no way they're going to be able to keep up on their own. I really don't think that's going to be the case. Yes, just as I thought. I mean, it's just running out of power, however. It's not able to carry the power over fast enough with the speed upgrades to be able to do the thing that I want it to do. Now, all I got to do is get all of these in place. I'm just using the memory card to paste in the settings and also the acceleration upgrades into each of these. I'm just going to extend off of the dense cable. That's probably the easiest way to manage this. I know you're probably wondering, Chosen, like, why are you worried about this right now? Well, there's a lot of things that I still want to do and get done. For example, I want to dive into Draconic Evolution. I know Draconic Evolution is going to take a little bit of time, and I was like, I could utilize my time super efficiently by doing this first and having this running in the background while a lot of other things are going on. And so this is a great solution to that. So having this constantly running while we work on other projects, it's going to just make use of our time so much better. And I typically like to prioritize time. The father of 3, I find myself running out of that more and more. Also, eventually I want to get my power being sent through my AE system. That is something that I do want to eventually do. But as of right now, I've been using points for everything. So I kind of am going to continue that here in the back. Points and gates in this particular case, because these are pretty power hungry, I do want to use the gates here. But we can shift right click here with a flux configurator, and this will make this whole operation a little bit faster, because if you're doing a bunch of these down at once, you can just right click and it should automatically configure these. I don't know why though the color isn't carrying over. It's supposed to. It's definitely supposed to. But it didn't. That's so confusing. Yes, even after trying to reload the chunks, you have to break them for them to retain their information. Maybe this wand isn't the best way to do it still. It seems kind of broken. You know what? I might be able to get away with using far fewer of these too if I just like put them in between on their sections. Because you know what? I kind of want to tap the back here, and I want to tap the back for the resource pull. So now I've got all of the seeds in place here. I've just got to get the upgrades put in all of the machines. This is really what makes this thing go crazy here. But I think now we need to start worrying about how we're handling the items. Now, every single one of these is producing fertilizer essence. What I'm thinking is like we could have like a drawer that goes on top of the points for each of these crops that's being grown. And so that's exactly what I've done. Now, I was thinking we could use SFM to handle all of the items. And this is going to be a pretty fast way, I think, to do this. We just need to have a cable that runs like this all the way around through the back and literally connecting to everything, and also just simply tapping into the drawer. Like it's that simple, quite literally that simple. Continuing around like this, and we should be able to say, hey, pull from here, send to here. This is going to be a very simple program. Of course, before we do this, let's actually pull out each of the materials. So this is going to be like stone. I end up doing like water essence here. Just some things that I know I'm going to need a bit of. That allows us to do block conversions and things like that. But there we go. There's that. Some wood essence here. And then also fertilizer here. And we're going to want to make sure that we actually get rid of this stuff, because I don't think we're going to really ever use this fertilizer essence. And then we got to make sure to lock all of these drawers. I mean, by now you're probably pretty familiar with this whole process. But we've got that connected together, and then we can actually add the linking tools, and we can add all of these drawers to our network, which will allow it to show up in our applied energistics system. And yeah, I can even add that. But now for the fun part. We quite literally just need to go to view examples and a simple program. This is all we need. So we'll just do this overarching. So storage, we'll say input from, and then hydros, and then we'll say output to storage or drawers. I think that is completely fine. We don't even need anything other than that. That is it. So we'll simply pull from here by shift right clicking on this, and then we'll open this up and we'll call everything the drawers. So we'll say, hey, these are drawers. And then we'll open this up and we'll say, hey, these are the hydros. Oh, not that block. These. All of these are hydros. And then once everything is labeled, well, we just right click here. And that should hopefully start doing the thing, assuming that this is all set up and configured correctly. I think this right here, I guess, is a good example of things not always going as planned. For some reason, the program is not wanting to work, even though it is as simple as the idea of pulling the items out and then sending them somewhere that they can actually go to. What I might have to do here is use a controller access point, potentially. The pulling could actually be the issue. Like, it just may not be able to pull specifically out of the back of the hydroponics. So I might try to add a linking tool here. I think this allows it to become a part of the controller. So like extends the controller. That is then linked in, and we just need to change our program here just a little bit. Completely almost. So we can give this a shot. We're going to input from the hydro, and then we're going to output to the controller. And then we pull all of those individual things now. And then we're going to prune these. Let's pull to make sure we have the right information. This is going to be the controller. And then the rest are going to be the hydros. And we just got to hope that this will all work by getting these all linked in now again. I still think it might be an issue. If this doesn't work and they don't start pulling, yeah, it's something to do with there potentially being direct access, for example, like to the back. We can disable that, disable that, disable that. Even so, it's still not wanting to pull from these. So you know what? Let's just scrap the whole idea of using SFM, and we're going to do something else instead. Let's just get super classic with this. You know what? We'll just throw down some cables, and we'll have all of that route into this controller down here. I think this could possibly keep up. We'll give it a shot. These, by the way, are the highest tier mechanism cables. So, I mean, it should hopefully work here. I feel like I should rotate this. We put it in this direction. We can put it right here, right? And yeah, get it relinked. Perfect. And remove the cables so that it does link. There we go. And then set all of these to pull. And that way everything goes into its drawer just like so. If you don't mess up. I just got to set these all to extract. Right. Okay, so they're all going in, and these are now actually pulling and filling up the containers. By the way, if you know the solution to that SFM problem, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Like, that's kind of important because I wonder if this affects a lot of the other machines from Industrial Foregoing. Now, for this, I'm going to put a void upgrade to make sure everything is emptying, and look at that. It is definitely keeping up. And since this is all working, it's time to throw in those simulators. And in each of these, we're going to level up those simulators. This will also allow us to basically duplicate our operation again with the other simulated hydroponics that we can put on top of this. So yeah, these are going to, oh, that's honey seed one already. These are going to take on the seed that exists currently in it and just also start building up. Doesn't really change anything else. We'll just let those build up here. Now to make this look a lot nicer, these camo blocks are so good. We just click this, shift right click onto our power port, and this will allow us to cover up our flux points as if they're not even there. So nice. And there we go. We have essences now starting to build up, and I tell you, these bad boys generate very, very quickly. And before I know it, these are going to be leveled up, and we can accelerate it even further by using the sims that are going to end up being like kind of on top of these. I mean, give or take, I think the idea might be to do something like that. Yeah, like this. And then these that are on top will also be tapped into the product and producing. And yeah, we'll just end up giving it power the same way we did here and connect it into the system. You know what? I tell you, there's something nice about the classic just items flowing through the pipe though. I kind of really like this. So exactly the same thing for the power. Thankfully though, the simulators up here, they don't really need anything other than power to work. I let this run for about an hour, like not even, I think it was an hour, and we're at 272,000 of each individual essence. So I think this is generating really well, and this is only these. So what I'm about to do is swap these and apply these to the upper ones, so that way we generate even more essence. And so that it requires a seed and the simulator. So we're going to be literally using the hydroponic simulator processor, and it generates, as you can see, like 13 every time it does an operation. So it's not as fast as this down here, but it's the little extra that counts. And I'm able to do this for all of these. Like it's just, this one's generating 13, 36. Holy smokes. It does pretty large batches, as you can tell. Like I can let it run even longer, but like I said, it's like an exponential thing it starts to turn into, where like at some point it's just gonna be so much time to be able to get the efficiency higher. Also, something I do want to mention, I mean, this still does technically level up while it's inside of here. It's just significantly slower than the other method. I know you guys want to see this, so one thing real quick, you probably want to see, like, can we actually craft up like a 5 times compressed log? And how quickly can we do this with all of this essence? It's only going to cost us 10,000 essence, and you can see how quickly we generate it. Whenever I hit this, it should almost instantly, it is instant. It instantly has crafted a 5 times compressed log. And it's going to do the same for all of these essences. This is a tremendously fast way of generating these compressed blocks. And something else that I do want to mention, if I pop down here real quick, we also have cobblestone, like constantly being compacted as well. This is a 4 times compressed. This is a 2 times. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or actually 2. It goes all the way up to 4 times compressed. So this is slowly pulling things out of here and continuing to compress it up. But we also have a bunch built up from our other setups as well. So we've got all of these compressed blocks, I think, almost in the bag here. I mean, this is just, it is wild how much Industrial Foregoing has really helped with this process. I mean, just look at this right here. 4 times compressed obsidian. This right here, 4 times cobblestone. 1,500 of them. I think we have the compressed blocks in the bag. Even if I wanted to make like 18 of these stars to automate it with the bee, we could do it. Also, just when you think things can't get any more powerful, right? Well, the cobblestone, if we want to get sand and gravel, well, I mean, we could just toss it in here. That generated the gravel from just one cobblestone. This is going to be so nice. And the future is looking bright. That all the mod star, I can already start to smell it. Ah, how nice. But you know what I think overall? This has got to be one of the fastest ways to generate mystical agriculture essence in this pack. Like, this is incredibly quick. Of course, I don't have the time nor means to be able to test every single possible way, so that's where I rely on you guys. Let me know down in the comments below. Is there a faster way to do it than this? Well, if so, you can always let me know down in the comments. And guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and give this video a huge thumbs up. And with that being said, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Chance98. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting my content in one of the best ways possible. Thank you so very much. And guys, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And as always, thanks for watching.